Well, bee lovers, it's overcast and foggy today, but I need to do something with this hive here. I was going to combine another hive with it, and that's why I kept it in a deep, but that other hive absconded. So now I've got to turn this thing into a nook so I can save them over the winter. So bear with me here, so we'll see what we can get done. It do have some bees in it, that's for sure. No question about it. This hive is the last hive I put together this year, and I went to Navasota to get a queen part, and it has a bee weaver in here. I don't know if many of you has ever heard of a bee weaver, but Frederick Dunn runs these, and they come out of Navasota, Texas. And they are supposed to be very hygienic bees, and so far, so good. It's the only bee I have in my apiary that is marked. None of the other ones are marked. They're all, one of them is a 20 and the other one's I have 120 and 221s. So, here we go. Here we go. Going down into a nook. I got 2 to 3 frames of bees in here. They're putting up a lot of sugar water in that one, which to me is very encouraging. Now this is going to be the frame that probably my queen is on. Oh lordy. Got some worker brood, and we got some drones. Those are old drones that never hatched out. I see some uncapped brood, not a lot by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of brood here. There she is. See her running around right there with that white dot? That's our little queen, our little bee weaver. We're going to put them in here, and I think this smaller version here is going to do the trick for us. Now, what I've got over here is a frame that was particularly, the honey was all taken out of it when the bees absconded. You know what? That's a good frame. I'm gonna leave it in there. I'm gonna leave it in there, and I'm gonna shake that one bee off this frame. And I'm gonna put it in the freezer and freeze it. Now, I've got to set this down, this hive down. I'm going to leave that just like that. I'm going to put this top on, and I'm going to put this feeder back on here. Now I've got to do something with this thing. I'm gonna move it over right where the other one was at. Set it right back up here so they can find their way back over to the hive. I'm gonna set this one on this side so they can find their way to the hive. And that's the name of that tube. I moved that top cover over out of the way. So bringing in some pollen there. So they can find their way to the hive. Now, I only had 6 frames in there, but that really was too much space for them. So that's why I took the other frame out, put it in a nook, so they can manage that a lot better. I got about 2.5 frames of bees, and I'm gonna see how they do with getting their act back together in a nook. That will be, I think that will help them survive a lot more than the situation that they were in. So, given that, well, let me see if I had any hive beetles in here. 1 hive beetle, and I didn't see any in there. But you know what I'm gonna do? I am gonna slip this back in there, right here in the front. Right there in the front. So, with that, I'm gonna see what I've got in this frame. I mean, in this hive. Oh, it's full of sugar. We still got a lot of feed in there. A lot of feed. So I'm not going to attempt to do any additional work to this one. I'm just going to put it back together. Whew. That's tough to do, is hold a smoker in your hand. So I'm going to leave that as is. Now I'm going to turn this dude around. And I'm going to go over to this one right here, which has been my flow hive on there. Yeah, we had a flow hive on here this past year. It's hive number 2, and with that flow hive, I want to have a sister flow hive, because I've got it here and I hadn't put it together yet for this coming spring. Today is the 4th day of December of 21, and we're fixing to head into a new year. So I'm going to see how the feed is holding up in this one, and if it's as good as that other one, I'm going to leave it alone too. But they're still getting some food. Yep, still got plenty of sugar. And they're in there feeding. I won't have to put any more sugar in here for quite a while now. I'm going to take that liquid feeder off of that milk over there when it gets a little bit colder. And I have a spacer I'm going to put in there for some sugar. And I'll put dry sugar in there. So, that's the name of that one. Now, I've looked at these two, number 1 and number 2, and that nook is number 4. I've looked at them, and I'm pretty pleased with what I've got right now. So I'm going to go over to hive number 3 and take a look at hive number 3 and see how it looks.